If you're going to a wedding or holiday party, this is the base routine you want to follow. In my last video, I had talked about skin prep and how important it is. And today I'm going to show you real time what I do step by step. I put some moisturizers in the morning and I've been running around so you can see I'm a little shinier. I will be cleaning that up with a toner first. I'm going to do the same step I did in the skin prep because the last time I exfoliated my skin was 2 days ago. And so I want a fresh base. I'm using the BHA toner and then I'm going to be gently sweeping it. I got betrayed this month. This thing came up just to tell me that it's that time of the month, but it's okay. We're going to be covering it, so let that dry out. And in the meantime, I'm going to moisturize my lips. This one from Essence is godsend. It's the Super Peptide Glossy Lip Treatment. It does not leave your lips dry after it's gone, and this actually helps my dry lips recover. Right after I got this, they released colored versions of these, and I'm dying to get that nudie brown color. I just wish they were available here. I'm going straight with my Milky Toner because today I feel like my skin is a little drier than normal. Always bring it down your neck. During daytime, you do not want to miss sunscreen. You know you're almost out of it when they do this sound. I'm not that much of a foundation girl. When I do put on, it goes on really smooth and has the potential to last all day. SPF and moisturizer is all set. You can go on with primer next. Love to have a little bit of smoothness around areas that are troubling me. And that would be this particular area. Alright, it's been a while since my primer has set. The skin prep I showed you last week is really going to make sure that your skin is all set to apply a foundation. And sometimes you might not even need a primer. But if you want to go for a locked in full day event criteria level skin look, then I would suggest a primer. I went with the Milky Conceal and Perfect. It gives hydration as well as a little bit of blur. Let's move on to actual foundation. In the summertime, I like to go on with the skin tint. Again, don't focus on the product I'm showing, more so the steps. So before going on with foundation, I like to go on with color correcting. That is so that there's already some kind of evenness on my face before I cover it with a full foundation. As you can tell, I have quite the spots to cover. For my under eyes, I use a peach color concealer. This one is the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Nude, and it has a nice peachy undertone to it. Use just enough. You don't need to lather it on like you see in the Instagram and TikTok videos where they're covering their entire under eye. That's not how you want to go because in real life it's gonna look unblended and almost gray if you don't have a better suited concealer to top it off. Next thing you want is a good tool, whatever works for your skin. I like to use a brush that's just enough dense and not super packed on, like those kabuki foundation brushes that are super tight in the bristles, because they don't allow you to really move the products freely. They kind of apply plotchy on me, especially if you're a beginner. You want to go on with something that is really light and fluffy and has just enough density so you can blend your cream products on. Another thing I want to mention real quick is you don't want to put the products directly on your skin. I know you see it in every video on social media. In real life, if you want it to look skin-like, it's better to use your hand as a palette, or if you have those stainless steel or glass kind of palette, it's really good to use that. Do not go straight in with your foundation or anything generally. Like, you know how those videos go straight in with the foundation and concealers, and honestly, you don't need that much product. And even if you do, the best way is to build the layers than to go straight with a thick base. Otherwise, it's going to look harsh, and honestly, it's not going to give you the skin-like finish that you would want. As you can see, I'm not going straight with a lot of product. I'm grabbing a little bit and then priming my brush with the product so that it does not make a huge blotch on my face. Let's go in. It's always better if you have thin layer so that we can build it up than you having a thick layer and you not being able to blend it. Priming the brush evenly is really important so that when you're applying it, you don't have much room for complaint because it's seamless, you know? Taking that a little bit and concealing my spot. I have really thin skin around my nose, so the nerves from within really peek through and can look a little uneven. So I'm going to correct it with the same thing. For spots like these and these, I'm going to use a smaller brush, making sure that the product is really primed in the brush evenly. And then I'm going to... You want to deposit the product and make sure you're blending the edge of the product more than on the problem area because you're going in for coverage. But it makes no sense when you keep rubbing the problem area. You want to put it on and rub the surrounding area so that it's blended. Now you can see that I've not put in foundation, but I've basically made sure that when I do put on the one shade of foundation all over my skin, it does not have an uneven base. Because if you already have uneven base, it's easier for the unevenness to peek through depending on the coverage of your foundation. I like to go on with a light layer, so I like to make sure that the discoloration's corrected for the most part. Alright, the next thing I have to tell you is don't put on a lot of pumps. I know you might need a lot of coverage or not, but it is always best to go on thin layers rather than putting on thick ton of foundation and then blending it in. The foundation is going to have a really long time to set in the skin, so you're going to have to put on more setting powder and end up looking cakey, and that's what we want to avoid. So I would like to suggest going on with one pump of foundation, and you might need more, but work with one pump first. Take a little bit of the product and prime your brush. You don't want to take the foundation just 1-2 times and then make your foundation brush look like this. This is not what we're going for. We want to prime the brush. I think it was Katie Jones that coined this term, priming the brush, but it's really important that you make sure their brush is evenly coated with the cream product you're using, and then go on in, stippling the brush on your skin. Swiping gives it a really streaky look, and if you have a buffing brush like this, make sure you're stippling your product really gently. And I don't want you to go really heavy-handed and stippling it lightly. Don't forget your ears if you have a little different shade of foundation. You see how I went with a little bit of product and I finished almost half of this area? Now you want to take a little bit of the rest, depending on how much you like it, but how much ever you take, make sure you're priming your brush evenly with that layer. And then stipple the brush. If the foundation does not match your neck, bring the foundation a little down so that you don't have a harsh difference between your neck and face. This one layer is going to take a lot easier to set down rather than the full pumps that you use directly on your face. I'm going to do the same on this side of the face, and I'm going to be right back. I've had a really light layer of foundation. If you want to go on with a second layer, I recommend the same. Put it on the back of your hand or your palette and then prime the brush and work in section. For me, one layer is quite enough because if I have more concealing to do, I would go on with a concealer of my same skin shade. I definitely moved around this part of my concealing, so I'm going to put on a little bit of concealer that's the same shade as the rest of my skin so that I'm not highlighting it. If you put light shade concealer around your blemish spots or dark spots, you're going to highlight the dark spots more than concealing, because what lighter concealers do is brighten, and you don't want to brighten. You want to bring those dark spots back to your skin tone color. So use a concealer shade that's similar to your foundation and skin tone versus a brightening one. It defeats the purpose of concealing the spot. I'm just going to go on a little bit of that. I'm just doing a little basic concealing like so. Okay, I like to go on with all of my cream products before setting it in. That also gives your foundation time to settle in your creases and fine lines so that you can later on remove those excess products and set it. This is the Juvia's Place cream bronzer, and it's in the shade Sunkissed. This is a really creamy bronzer. I don't straight up go with my brush, especially a used brush. I like to scoop out a little bit of product with the back of my nails and then place it on my hand. If you haven't gotten the gist, my hand is basically my palette. I'm sure owning one of those palettes would be a great place. But right now I'm working with what I have. I'm taking the cream bronzer and I'm really, again, priming my brush with the cream bronzer and then placing it. Don't drag the product underneath, just tap it and blend it lightly. Do the same with concealer, especially if you're a beginner. You don't want to mess up with too much product. I'm going to use just a little bit. Prime the brush and work in thin layers. If the brush does not satisfy you, you can go on with a damp beauty blender, which is squeezed out completely, and then take out excess product. If you have more dark spot concealing to do, this would be the right time to do it. Just on the problem area, you want to stipple and cover and then blend the edges. By now, your fine lines must have settled the foundation or concealer. This is the prime time for you to go in and remove those lines, but not directly. You want to use a tapered, fluffed up brush, and what you're going to do, go on the creased area, extend it and see the creased area, and lightly buff out the creases. You don't want to move the product around too much. Really so gently buffing the excess area from the creases and patting the rest. Now that the creases are gone, I want to set the skin before powdering it. Using a setting spray, I'm going to lock in the cream products before I apply powder. I've noticed this step is so crucial for my base routine to last and not budge. And this is my holy grail spray to do that. Once you've set, you want to make sure the creases you've blended are intact. If they do have further creasing going on, this is the time to buff those creases really gently. While your skin may crease over time, this is going to prevent extreme creasing. Right after blending those creases, you want to go in with a setting powder. I love the Huda Beauty one. You don't want to go straight here and then here. That's going to create a lot of blotches. Take a little bit of powder, not a lot, and then prime your puff the same way you did the brush, and then add it to the areas that you need. If you're not a fan of puffs, you can use the same amount of powder and then gently dab. Don't sweep, just circular motion, or just press the product. I'm using a little bit of bronzer on top of the cream bronzer I used. Always use light hands, and if you think you're doing too much, place your hand on the edge of the brush, not here. If you think you've powdered your face too flat, I would suggest using a finishing powder like so. And what you're going to notice, there's going to be a subtle radiance to your face, or you can use just a little bit of highlighter, dab it on your hands, and then use that to bring back a little bit of glow on your skin than the flat base. Set it one last time with setting spray, let it dry. Always shake your setting spray bottle before doing a test spray, and then go on your face with the setting spray. And these are the ultimate steps I use, so my base looks really good. There are always exceptions to the rule. Some people's skin might be different than others, but for the most part, you're supposed to have a really good base when you work in thin layers, and make sure that you're not overdoing the products. Let me know how you think of this routine. Make sure you save this video so you can come back when you're doing your makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!